What did the orc boys say to the marine boys? I don't know. Daka, 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 daka.
Welcome to another Evil Clown Slayer review. Today we're going to look at some orcs from the McFarlane line. These are not exactly new. I think they came out 2021, so they're a year or so behind now. But right now you can get them all on clearance. So I had the first one here, and I figured, oh shoot, for the other ones being close to half price, I'd pick up the other two. And we'll take a quick look at these guys. Again, these are the orcs from the McFarlane line. Just at a quick glance, we'll take a quick peek at the boxes here. We got these both from GameStop, and again, they put them on clearance not too long ago. So you see the packaging here. Ooh, they're listed for the retail price is $39.99. It's kind of on the high side, I thought, for what you get, but they're still pretty sweet characters or figures. Take a quick peek at them in the packages. So there we go. We got our same graphic we get on every one of these McFarlane 40K figures. We got our graphic of the figures on the back. And we got Orc Big Mech, Orc MEGANOB, and I think the other one that I have, the third one, which I already opened, had him for a while now, Orc Knob with SHOOTA, I believe. They're fancy like that. They have the pretty basic descriptions there. We got our descriptions, we got our graphics of the characters that are inside on the side here. If I was a major collector and planning on keeping these in the box, I might have been a little upset with this one. This one, the little back attachment came loose, so I would have been pretty frustrated with that if I was planning on keeping them in the box. So like this guy, no issues there. So again, these are larger than most of the other McFarlane figures. Most of them start around 20 bucks a piece, and they're probably about, I don't know, 2/3 of the amount of plastic you actually get with these guys. These are pretty big chunkas compared to the, again, the regular Space Marines or the Sisters of Battle we talked about before. But pretty nice looking figures. There's a few things, I've had a chance to play with the other one, for a little while, doing some stop motion and everything like that, so I got to see how he articulates and everything like that. So, knowing that, I was willing to spend the approximately, I don't know, about $22 each, I think, for both of them. I was happy to get the first one for the full retail price, but I wasn't about to spend another $80 for these two. But they did come on clearance, so I think I got both these together after shipping for about 50 bucks from GameStop. I was pretty happy with that deal. So, just a quick explanation. Go into the McFarlane website. You'll see this in the description or the notes down below. But the orcs call their ruling caste knobs. That would be these gentlemen and this third one back here. Knobs are bigger and scarier than other orcs and revel in cruel or casual violence. Knobs lead by example, plunging into the thick of the fighting and breaking skulls left and right and center. In this way, each knob acts as a sergeant-at-arms, champion, oppressor, and role model for the boys they lead. So we'll be talking about a little bit about the orcs. Again, I tend to dabble into the lore. I don't mean to. Definitely not an expert. But in this whole universe, orcs are a whole like army or faction, however you want to describe them. They're like one out of maybe 8 different. There's like the humans. There's the chaos we mentioned. There's Necrons, which I think we've seen some videos of them included. We have some Tau, the Tyranids. There's another handful of Xenos on there. Some of the Eldar and Dark Eldar. Again, I'm old, so I don't know the Eldari and all the new Dakari or whatever their new words are for them. But these are one of the main villains of the universe. They're never the good guy. There are some factions that kind of swing both ways. These guys are always bad, but they're also fun to follow. They're kind of the comic relief. These guys, and again, there's several different tribes, I think is what they're called, of orcs. Things like Bad Moons, the Snake Bites, or God, I always forget what the Gazgal one is. The Goths, I believe. They each have their own little big gatherings of guys, and they all get together and decide to go on a basically just destroy something, and that's their that's like for fun for them. For that, that's just fun. Their religion is literally war, so they get this whole belief. They have two gods, Gork and Mork, both these giant orc deities that they're supposedly always fighting each other. That's why nothing ever gets done. Because if they, the way that this universe works, the Warhammer universe in general, the more followers a god has, the more power that god will have, and the more influence it will be able to have in the real world or the warp, wherever they are. So the more followers, the more power. Supposedly the orcs are the most numerous. I believe they're more numerous than humans. They're everywhere. They spawn very quickly. They, as they die, they secrete spores. They're supposedly described as big mushrooms, and as you squish them, kill them, shoot them, whatever, bits of them go flying everywhere, and those turn into other little baby orcs. But so they're interesting. They're meant to be kind of silly. They're kind of like the comic relief in a lot of ways of Warhammer. They're everything in Warhammer's serious. You'll find all sorts of dark, horrible stories of these things, but then also some more lighthearted, entertaining stories. Just some quick examples. So again, this universe, the more belief that one thing has. So one of the examples are, in this case, orcs, for whatever reason, they all believe that the color red makes things go faster. So they go around painting all their cars red, or all their vehicles red, and if it's painted red, it will actually go faster than a same vehicle that was painted yellow. So it just makes it funny, comical. They tend to laugh and have a good time about fighting, and they die knowing that they'll resurrect and get to go back to war right afterwards, or that's their belief anyway. So they go into to war laughing and having a good time, knowing that there's a good chance they're going to die, but if they die, they will come right back and be resurrected and just be another orc. So back to what these things are, the knobs, if that's what we're calling them here, orc big mechs, knobs. These guys are kind of like the step up from the frontline grunts. These are the veterans. These are the ones that have been around for a while. For orcs, the longer they're around, they grow more, obviously. The bigger they are, or the longer they're around, the more they grow. But also the more they fight, the bigger and stronger they get, the tougher they get. So if they have a small tribe, there's only 12 orcs on one world, and that's all that there is. You'll never get a big, giant orc, because there's just not enough orcs around for them to draw power from, I guess. But the more orcs that are around, the more that they fight each other or other humans or whatever, other Xenos, the more they fight, the bigger they'll get. And if they have more orcs around, I think that helps them pull in however it works. It's just their belief. That's what makes them funny, is that if they all believe something together, and supposedly they're the most numerous kind of sentient type beings in the universe of this universe we're talking about, if they all believe in something, it makes it true, and gives it more power. So it, again, makes it kind of fun, entertaining to listen to and read about if you're reading any of their books or listening to any of the, again, those audiobooks are all over the place now, or following their stories. But that's about all I have for these guys. We will pull them. We'll pull these two open here in a second here and kind of compare this one to the other two. And we'll kind of talk about why I chose this one as why I'm willing to pay retail for this one, but the other two I wanted to wait on, and I wasn't actually sure I was going to get them. But we'll kind of pull them apart, take a look, and we'll talk about it in just a second. Okay, welcome back. Just got them all wrestled out of the packages, two on the ends. They come with a base, and they all came with a backpack, some kind of a backpack type deal. And these two came with the little chin guards, or whatever you want to call these, the face guards. This gentleman did not. I think they kind of balanced it out by giving him quite a bit more articulation in his weapon. It's a little more intricate than what they have over here. Talk about that in a second. But overall, these guys are retailed about $40 a piece. So you'd expect them to be a little more in one way or another. And I'll give McFarlane that. They were pretty ambitious with this design and style and the way that they went about these things. Each of these, they all have, I mean, they have quite a bit of, just noticing this one. So I just pulled this one apart. Oh, there it goes. But they have moving parts, so they have, I mean, a lot of moving parts to them. So their leg is moving, and they have this little joint thing that assists them in moving as well. And I believe, like, lore-wise, the reason for that is they're carrying around a bunch of armor and chunkiness to them. It helps them to move a little faster, be a little stronger. But as you see, as you just saw there, these backpacks do not click in very well. They're nowhere near as tight as most of my Space Marines. These are barely in there. And then the face guard. Oh, and also back to this guy. Let's take a quick look at him. This gentleman here, so that's fallen off quite a bit. This arm, very awesome. I love how much you got a lot of movement here. Pretty cool. Nice little detailed. Probably the coolest weapon out of all of them, like of the three of them. We have articulation in the arm. Their arms, very little articulation, but again, with the size of these things, and again, they have these awesome, I mean, this is really cool. It's meant to look like hydraulics or pistons or whatever. Just from the length of that, makes this, you can't bend this, even if you really pulled on it, you couldn't make that arm go up any higher, because this is the limiting factor now. Really cool, looks awesome, but again, it just really kind of tightens up your articulation. That is the most he can lift up his arm. I might be able to get more out of that if I decided to pop this thing out. I was already kind of wrenching on it, trying to get more out of it. These guys are very, very stiff. It takes a minute to get them to kind of do what you want them to do. So same thing on this arm. We got the same little deal. Awesome concept. I love the concept on that, but I don't know. I mean, again, I'm tempted to pop that thing out and see what their articulation looks like without those. I might end up ditching those in the future. We'll see. And again, I've had a chance to fiddle around with this guy. I just haven't cared too much to do it. But so arms, very limited articulation. But to be fair, they're giant chunka orcs. They're not meant to be super flexible. Leave that to the Eldar. They do have some waist swivel here, so they can go all the way around. Their head moves a little bit here. We do get a little. Ooh, as I did that, he's all of a sudden getting looser. Okay, so the legs very, very stiff. They do have knee joints, so their legs do bend. But you really have to push, or really to get, well, that leg, really have to push hard. This one not so much. This one's not too bad. This one, you really have to work on it. So, yeah, I mean, it's again, they look awesome, but as far as playing around and trying to really wrench them into place, these guys are going to be a challenge for me to try to do any kind of stop motion with any kind of, well, not that I'm great at this, but and my level of stop motion is pretty weak. But as far as if I was trying to really have them walking, that would be a headache for each step. For some of these limbs are so stiff, like I have to pick them up and really two-hand wrench it to be able to make it look like he's moving. Again, not bad. I mean, if I'm just one time doing it posing, it's probably actually perfect. It's great for posing because he'll hold his don't fall. He'll hold his pose really well because he's got these stiff joints. But if I'm trying to do again some of my stuff, some of my stop motion stuff, this one, at least that particular knee, he's gonna be walking goofy because I don't feel like doing that. It's a lot of work. But again, for this guy, a couple things that bothered me even before I got this one. I knew from the photos. At a glance, they look awesome. Like, again, you stand them all up, they look like these big chunker guys that are ready to cause trouble. I love that. Alright, he's not standing. This one in particular, I held off for. I really didn't like this one. I didn't think I was going to get him, to be honest. And my main reason for not liking that is just this. I mean, this is like a simple little thing. Let's get him up here. Looking at his face, just dumb to me. It just bothers me. These are supposed to be wires. I believe they're supposed to be wires going from his mask to his brain or whatever it is back here somewhere. And they left him the same color as his face. So to me, it just looked really bad. Like, what do you like? That spot. Again, this is something I've had with a couple of the figures. Little things like just a quick couple brushes with a Sharpie make a huge difference. I'll probably go back and do that with some of these guys. That, for whatever reason, that just bothered me. But everything else about this particular figure is pretty awesome. I do like this one a lot. I wish he would have came with a face grill. He's got the slots in there, so he's got the same chest cavity or chest design as the other ones. So in theory, I could put this in there. His backpack is kind of pretty big and clunky. I mean, meant to be kind of silly looking. This kind of, again, in my opinion, this is what Works are all about. Something that kind of bothers me, like, again, I didn't notice until I got out of the package, but his arm here, and I don't know if you can see it in that camera or not, but this gun is super crooked. It is, let's see if we can look at it this way. Again, I'm not expecting perfection, but if you're spending $40 on this guy, you'd be kind of annoyed with how wonky that is. So again, I'm not sure if you can tell, but it's definitely crooked looking. And again, for $40, I love these things. They're awesome, but I wish that just little things, these little details, like why can't we touch those up a little bit more? I know, I get it. There's a lot of plastic in here, and there's a lot of engineering that went along with this. Pretty cool. But again, some design decisions they made. I don't know why, but these things are barely in there. Either I have to glue it in there, or somebody was mentioning some nail polish or nail hardening stuff. I can kind of dab it in there. I'll give that a try. Thanks for the recommendation. You know who you are. You may have seen them in the chats. But overall, awesome looking guys. They're pretty sweet. Just, again, execution. I wish for $40, I wish there would have been a little more to them. Again, they look so cool. But as far as if you were really trying to tinker around with them, play with them much, do a lot, you'd have a hard time. This guy is, again, just my other new one. I've had the other one for a minute now. Just, again, nice looking model. But his, joints or hydraulics, whatever you want to call these things, really warped, really kind of crooked. I mean, again, you could blame that all on the whole orkiness of it, which is fine. So that's why I can forgive that. I don't have a hard time with. I'm not upset about it because again, they're supposed to be looking janky, like they're junkyard bandits, whatever, building what they can out of what they have. But again, I love this concept. This is so cool. Like, that's badass in my opinion. Like, you don't see that on any. I've never seen that in an action figure before. We got multiple joints. But this little thing, I know, I get it. If you had that too long, it would look silly if it was sticking all the way up here. But now my articulation is down to nothing because of that. Another thing, it would have been awesome if these things spun. I feel like it wouldn't have been too hard to do that, but I get that probably would have been another 50 cents or another $1 per figure, and I get it. You got to make a profit. You got to keep things tight. I understand it, especially in this market. But again, little head articulation. Now this thing came with this face guard deal. Very hard to get it in there though, very tight. I'm gonna have to run some hot water under this thing, over this thing, to be able to wrestle it in there properly. So I can kind of pack it in there, and it sort of works. I'm going to use my hot water trick, I think. So, trick again with a lot of these McFarlane figures. Hot water, hot air, get a hair dryer, or run it under hot water for these pieces, and they will do what you want them to do. And again, I got to play around with these backpacks and decide if I want them set. So another thing that was kind of cool about these things, they do all interchange, it looks like. So if you have all three and you decided, hey, I like this figure with that backpack, you can swap them all out and they will work. Same thing again with these face guard things. These are all basically the same, the way they slot in. So even though this guy didn't come with one, he still got the slots for the face guard, and I could pack that in there and it will work. I mean, for the most part. Again, they're just the way these things are designed. It's not very perfect, but it does work. So it's kind of cool. And again, I take the backpack from the other one, put it on here. Now if I decide I'm not going to end up painting this one's face or do anything to make that one look prettier, I might pirate some of the cool pieces from this guy. I don't know. For me, when I'm doing my stop motion and stuff, it was important for me to have, so for orcs, they're shooting, this is called DACA, and I don't know, Crumpin, or just hand-to-hand fighting, but DACA, the shooting. It's important for me, as again, doing stop motion, have the option of being able to do the hand-to-hand combat fighting or the shooting. So I chose this guy. He was my first one that I paid, again, full retail price for. Or, I don't know, I think I got him for like 36 bucks or something like that. He was on sale, but I got him for pretty close to retail. Because I wanted the gun and the claw. And this one didn't have the goofy wires out of his face that didn't look right. So, these are the Orc MEGANOBs, or Big Mechs, or Orc with SHOOTA. So you get a little taste of all these. I will probably throw some kind of stop motion in here. I'm not sure what I'm going to do yet, but I do love that face. This guy's got such a pretty face. This one to me screams Orc. He's probably got the best head of the three in my opinion. But again, why I didn't get him to begin with is just two BUZZSAWs. Just limits what I can do with them. So I'm wondering how easy it would be to just yank his arm out, swap him with one of the other guys, give him a gun and a buzzsaw. We'll see. You might see some bastardized figures in some of my videos. We'll see. Maybe not in these initial stop motions I include with these guys, but for future stuff, I give up. Oh, and also before I forget, So I know these guys are 40 bucks. This little guy, he's 20 bucks. So you can kind of see the difference in girth and heft and whatever you want to say. This guy is quite a bit smaller than this guy. Orc is close to a head taller. Definitely a lot more plastic. Just to kind of give you an idea. And then we got our Space Marine. We'll swap this guy out here. So, size-wise, they're about the same height. Actually, it looks like Space Marine's actually a little taller even. But this one's got a lot more. He's probably about double the... like I said, probably about 2/3. Well, I can't even say that. I don't know. This one, probably... I don't know my math. Forget math. Forget fractions. I'd say, I don't know. But 2 of these guys are probably about 3 or 4 of these things. There's a lot more plastic to these things than the Space Marines. And also, he's, I guess, not really standing up truly that straight. He's kind of hunched. So if I really straightened out his legs, gives you a better idea how big they are. So, cool. I love these big chunks. I'm kind of hoping that they re-release these orcs, not necessarily these ones, but they redo some orcs, maybe without the big armor. I would love to see them do just regular boys, not the knobs, not the big mechs or whatever you want to call these guys. These are kind of all the elites, the sergeants. It'd be awesome to see a smaller version of these guys, maybe a little more articulation involved, just more orky green skin showing, and just the traditional big old meat cleaver that they'll carry around with their big old shotgun looking thing in one hand, or some just improvised weapons that they tend to carry around. But that's about all I got for you guys. I appreciate the time. Please consider checking out some of my other videos. And if you like my stop motion, I have a whole other little, not channel, I don't know, but a video list of my stop motion, so check those out. If you like my reviews, I have a whole bunch of other reviews, especially with these McFarlane Warhammer reviews. This is definitely not a professional style review, so if you like this style, keep watching. Check out some of my other videos, and I'll talk to you guys hopefully soon. Thanks. Bye.
Ha ha ha. Over. Another one. Knock knock. Who do? Ain't you? Ain't you who? Ain't you glad? You got daka daka daka. Smart boy, are you boiling broccoli again? Praise the Emperor, they stink. Broccoli has vitamin C, potassium, and of course, fiber. You should appreciate its value. I'll appreciate you keeping it downwind of me. We will defend this wall with our lives. We do not know our chances of survival, so fight as if they are 0. Theoretical, those orcs will shoot you. Practical, stay behind cover. Practical, live to fight another day. Do you smell broccoli?